I started medical school at University of Alberta, and then I applied for and won a Rhodes Scholarship, came to Oxford, did a physiological sciences degree, and finished my clinical medicine at the university here. In 1992, I was offered the leading chair of medicine in Oxford, which is the Nuffield Professorship in Oxford. Held that for 10 years, and then I became the Regis Professor in 2002, and that's the job I've been doing ever since.
I've known John a long, long time. We go back to meeting as house physicians at the National Hospital for Nervous Diseases, Queen Square. John kindly took me into his lab, which had nothing to do with what I was working on. It was an immunogenetics lab.
I have had the pleasure of knowing him for many years now. I've known him from the Wellcome Trust, some of his work there in UK science bodies, from even before I joined this scientific advisory committee of the Gates Foundation.
So when I was at Stanford, there was a big boom in biotechnology in the 1980s, as you can imagine, just as people started cloning DNA and characterizing genes. So I was right in the midst of that, and it became a really important bit of my agenda to try and develop that. So when I came back, I started to help create an environment both in the UK and in Oxford for the development of biotechnology. And I was involved in the setup of a number of biotechnology companies. And then in 2001, I was asked to join the board at Roche, which is a large Swiss pharmaceutical company. And then I spent almost 20 years on the board at Roche, where we developed lots of new medicines. I was really exposed to both dimensions, the academic dimension, which I did really in Oxford, and then the commercial dimension, which I did in biotech and pharma. Our immune systems have been evolved over many, many years to be able to deal with particularly infectious pathogens. COVID's a very good example, but those sorts of things. And we rely on our immune systems. And during the course of that evolution, we've developed a whole set of very, very detailed molecular responses. It's quite an interesting bit of molecular machinery, which has got very important roles. And if you lose it, as you do if you get immunosuppressed, then you've got lots of troubles. So that's really why it's such an interesting area to work on. Well, I think one of the exciting things about being a scientist is that you can look at a set of data that reveals a biological phenomena related to medicine, which, you know, in the history of man, no one has really understood before.
He's also, as I said, very approachable. And therefore, for young and emerging scientists who work in an environment like that of Oxford, he is the classic professor, the go-to person for problem solving, whether they relate to research administration, oversight, or to just mentoring.
One of the gratifying things is to watch young scientists experience exactly that as well. And it's a remarkable feeling, and it's why scientists do what they do, is for that kind of excitement.
Well, John is one of life's inspiring people. He's a positive person. He's, I guess, a champion for genetics and particularly for immunogenetics, and in both those fields he's led.
He doesn't wear his genius and his science on his sleeve, so you can have a good conversation with him about life in general and what it takes to blend science and a family life.
It's a great honor to be inducted alongside so many very distinguished Canadian medical scientists and physicians. It's a remarkable institution, and it's a real honor to be part of it. I still have a huge amount of affection for Canada generally, but in particular the medical profession and the medical science community in Canada. I've been closely affiliated with them for a long period of time, and it's great to be recognized by them because I hold that particular group of people in very high regard. So it's a real pleasure.
Chief Architect of Government Strategy for Life Sciences in the UK and champion in the evolution of Canadian biomedicine, Canadian Medical Hall of Fame Laureate, Sir Professor John Bell.
It's a great pleasure to confer this medal on behalf of the Canadian Medical Hall of Fame on my husband, Professor Sir John Bell. FRS, GBE, FMedSci.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you very much. Look, it's a real honor to receive this medal and to become part of the Canadian Medical Hall of Fame. On reflecting, Canada has such a terrific biomedical environment, with absolutely littered with outstanding clinicians, outstanding biomedical scientists and leaders. But one thing Canada has also done over many, many decades is it's deposited some of its leaders outside the country, and those people have had a major impact on the environment they've gone into. And you only have to think of Norman Bethune, Sir William Osler, who had my job 100 years ago, and people like Joe Martin in more recent history. So I'm particularly tickled to join that cadre of people who are still firmly Canadian, but have gone out into the world to try and change the medical world for the better. So thank you so much for the honor. I really appreciate it.